Welcome back to Survival Saturday with Johnny Tiger. The date is June 11, 2022. No, I'm not going to teach you guys about karambit today. Just want to show off my little acquisition. Actually, this thing, I might as well say this, it's a little bit of a disappointment because I purchased this because this is supposed to have a dull and sharpened blade, which it does. Um, I thought, great, it would be awesome as a training tool. But as it turned out, it's no good as a training tool because this thing is as sharp as a real karambit, or rather, should I say, as pointy as a real karambit. Like you can't train with this. No, you can seriously injure or kill each other if you're not careful. This is seriously pointy stuff. Yeah, the blade itself is not sharp, but the end of the blade, ooh, that's some crazy stuff. So, yeah, rather than a training tool, I end up with this mediocre self-defense karambit. Looks pretty cool though. Speaking of self-defense, I want to show you guys something else. Now, a lot of people don't know this part about my past. When I was a teenager, I was mixed up with some bad companies. Yeah, talking about my checkered past. And some people will say, okay, uh, what is it that do you have to offer as a blind person to criminal elements, to gangsters and hoodlums? What is it that you can offer them? Well, I mean, I can state the obvious that I can teach a lot of them how to fight really good. But another thing that I used to do really, really well as a teenager was I was like the guy who could make weapons out of almost anything. Like if you are heading for a big group brawl against another gang and you only have 5 machetes but you have 40 people, I was the guy you want to talk to because I could rig up a lot of deadly stuff just out of scrap and stuff like that. Just to show you that I haven't lost my touch, I just made this today. What is this? Looks totally weird, I know. This is 3 aluminum tubes bound together with power cable with the wall plug-in of the power cable coming out the end like a skull crusher or glass breaker, and the whole thing bound together with duct tape. So even though these aluminum tubes on their own are hollow and wouldn't be any good for anything, when you bound together like this and secure with duct tape and a power cable, this can break bones. This can knock someone out, no problem. Okay? And the grip is so comfortable that I can use this left-handed, right-handed, back-handed, butt stroke with the pointy little bit out the end here. Okay? This just took me about 10 minutes to make. Just some random, wacky little self-defense nonsense. But today is more than just show and tell. Today I want to talk to you guys about uh, something that actually happened a lot. A lot of people, when they want to do home defense, uh, if they're uncomfortable with machetes or knives or guns, a lot of people fall back to let's get a baseball bat, let's get a golf club. Honestly, golf club is kind of silly as a home defense weapon, but I mean, if you can swing it really good, I mean, I heard of people using hockey sticks too. So, whatever. What if you if you think it feels good in your hand and you can use it really good, then cool. But a lot of times people make the intrinsic deadly mistake of not differentiating what they are using and uh, using according techniques with whatever they are using. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about the difference between a stick and a baton, aka or a rod. Okay. First, a little bit of history lesson. In Chinese martial art, there's 18 classes of main weapon, knives and swords and spears and lance and uh, hammer and staff. Okay, I'm not going to stand here and recount all 18 of them, but just know there's 18 major classes of weapon. All 18 of them require different techniques, different training. Okay, so what's interesting is one of them is staff. Okay, now what constitutes a staff? It's a long walking stick. Staff is like a walking staff. It has to be something that made for walking or stability, right? That's a staff. Usually staff are 6 feet long, 5 feet sometimes, but usually they're 6 feet long, and you can spin them and do a lot of really cool stuff with them. Okay, that's staff. That's a different from what I have in my head. This is a stick. What constitutes a stick class is uh, the stick have to be 2 to 3 feet long, usually from the wrist up to your shoulder. This is the ideal length. Right? This is for each person. This is the ideal length, and the stick has to be the same width, the same size, the entire length of the weapon. So it's really balanced. You can hold it this end, you can hold it this end, you can hold it in the middle. Okay, there's not going to be any difference in the balance. A stick is the same length, the entire piece of the wood. And then the third class that is often confused is called the rod, or if we want to be more specific, more it will translate better as a baton. What is a baton? Well, a baton is essentially something like what I made today. A baton is a stick-like object, but it's usually heavier in the front and thinner in the back. So it has one thicker end, one thinner end, like a baseball bat. Okay, that's a baton or rod class. It sounds like something that kind of nitpicky, but it's actually categorized that way for a reason. Because the technique you require to use these objects is completely different. And today I'm going to show you guys, give you guys a quick basic tour of the difference between a stick and a baton or a rod. Okay, just so I don't have to keep saying that. From here on, I'm going to say baton because that makes more sense from the English perspective. But the original translation is rod. But from now on, I'm just going to call it baton, just so we are more fluid. So first, stick. Like I said, a stick is a piece of wood or pipe or whatever that should be the same length, the entire length. It's balanced really, really well. The entire length is about as long as your arm. Okay, this constitutes a stick. When you use a stick for home defense, you either want to stand facing your attacker, or you want to stand with your uh, free hand facing them. So the stick should be in the hand away from them. Okay? This is how you stand with the stick. You either face them or you turn slightly sideways, have your free hand towards them. That's it. When you hold a stick, There's many different. Now, let me say, I'm not like one of those Filipino martial art stick master thing. So I'm going to teach you the very basic self-defense that is going to really help you. There's many ways to hold the stick, right? But the best way, the most practical way, is to just hold it in your hand and then let it rest on the shoulder like this. So I'm holding it in my right hand and I have the stick leaning on my right shoulder. I'm very relaxed. I can stand here for a long time. I'm not going to get tired, right? And with this position, I can attack multiple points of the human body. Okay, it may look obvious to a lot of people. Say, well, you have it cocked over your right shoulder, so obviously you're going to swing from right side, but you're going to go for the neck or the head, right? Well, not really, because the stick is such a balanced and light weapon. So most of the control is in the wrist, which means I can change direction very, very quickly. So rather than going for the neck or for the head, I can also go for the elbow. I can go for the leg. I can go for the chest. I can even swing over my own head and go for the other side of the head. Okay? I can even backhand with this. Right? I can even get in two hits really quick. I can even jump in and stab with the stick, either the long end, the front end, or the pommel end of the stick. As long as I keep this distance between me and my opponent, I keep this. This is why a stick have to be this long, right? If you look at when I turn away from my opponent and stick out my free hand, this allow me to push them or grapple them or parry them or whatever I need to do. Obviously, if they have a knife, then I've got to be more careful with that, right? But this allows me to keep my stick away from them grabbing because the stick is easy to grab. If a person grabs your stick, you're going to run into a wrestling match. Okay, so my primary goal is to keep this away from their reach. So every time they lunge at me, I'm going to push them back or deflect them with my hand and then swing the stick right away. Right? This is why the stick is about this length, about the same length as my arm. Because when I extend my free hand like this, I can still swing the stick very quickly, whip it out like this, and still make contact. I don't need to be very close to them. Right? And we already covered that this can hit multiple points all from this right shoulder starting position. It's all in the wrist. Right? Stab, smash, hit the neck, hit the head, hit the elbow, hit the knee, hit the groin, hit the other side of the face, all starting from this one single position. This is the strength of the stick, is you can relatively easily target multiple positions in succession. And this comes to the next point. When you use a stick, most of the time you want to hit them more than once. Now, where do you want to aim with a stick? When you are dealing with an intruder or an attacker, especially if one is that's armed with a weapon, with a stick, you always go for the wrist, the finger, the elbow. One of those. Okay, so your starting point should be the hand, the elbow, but you don't want to stop there, right? So let's say someone coming at me with a weapon, screwdriver, hammer, whatever, in their hand, machete, whatever. Obviously, I want to try to get out of the line of fire. I want to get out from the center line, move, hit the elbow, hit the face, hit the face, hit the groin, hit the face, right? Again, we move elbow, face, face, groin, face, right? Multiple location, multiple trauma, and then you move out of the way. If they are still standing, which they really shouldn't be, but if they're still standing, then you wait for your next opportunity. If they try to attack you, you go for the hand, you go for the face, you go for the face, you go for the groin again, right? Now, let's talk about baton. As I mentioned, batons are usually stick-like objects, but they're front-loaded. They're heavier in the front, so you can't swing them fast like this. You can't swing them by the one hand and uh, have that kind of nimble attack. So this requires a totally different kind of stance, a totally different kind of mentality. I don't have a baseball bat. I'm going to show you guys using my training sword because my training sword might as well be a baseball bat. It's so front heavy that it actually handles more like a baseball bat than a sword. Cold steel, I hate to say this, but this training sword is really not that good. Okay, so this is our baton. This is our baseball bat. A lot of people make the mistake of cocking this over the shoulder like they're ready to do the batter practice for baseball. And this is not good. Why isn't this good any good? Because if I time this wrong and the person is already too close, I am going to get jammed up here. I won't be able to maneuver when the person come in really, really close because my arms are caught up here and cocked over my shoulder. And this is not like the stick where I can change form really fast. This is a big, heavy baseball bat or baton, which means from here I'm kind of stuck for a second, right? So the proper way to hold a baton type of weapon for home defense is what I call the cradle. What is the cradle? I'm going to hold it in one hand and I hold it horizontal across my chest, resting on my free hand elbow, like this. Okay, like I'm cradling this, I'm hugging this. And then my free hand will just kind of rest on near my holding hand. And watch the way I stand. I'm standing with my holding hand, the hand that's holding the baton, near the target, near the target. Okay, this time I want this to be near the target. Why? Because this is a big heavy thing. They come out really slow. It takes a slow wind up and this will come out slow. So I can't afford to have this way back there because by the time I swing, the person would see it. So I need this to start from a closer vintage. So it come out, it can compensate for the slowness of this type of tool, this type of self-defense weapon. Okay, so the cradle, I'm going to hold it in, I hold the hilt or the handle in my left hand, and I rest this in my right elbow, on my right elbow, and then I rest my right hand just gently on this, okay? And from here, I'm going to observe what the attacker is doing. The key is not to let them get too close, even though it's okay if they do. From this point, I can actually do a lot if they even if they crowd me. But preferably, you want to be away. So from this position, if they come toward you, you take a big side lunging step and then you swing. Okay, you side lunge and you swing. Right? With the baton type weapon, you want to end the fight with as few swings as possible, right? Because this is heavy, it's going to take energy. and you don't want to overswing. So when you swing, stop there. Okay, your swing shouldn't turn you like this. You shouldn't get pulled off center by your swing. So that swing should be nice and controlled. Nice and controlled. Right? Nice and controlled. Even if I miss, I'm not going to overswing. And then you come back into the cradle position, laying over my elbow, like this. I'm hugging it to my chest. Well, watch the person. Okay, now from this position, I can swing horizontal at the person's chest or arm, or from this position, I can swing over the head. Yeah, that's just my cutting target. Uh, Let me put that out of the way. One day I'll show you guys how this thing that looks like a really weird pinata work. This is actually a very uh, cool little cutting training tool that I invented. Okay, but yeah, back to the swing. So I can either swing from the cradle position I'm not using my wrist, I'm using my, okay, well, since this thing here, body, right? Like that. Or I would dip my shoulder and swing this directly over like that, right? But if you watch my motion, it's all in the torque of the body, dip of the shoulder. Okay, I'm not relying on my arm to do this. Now, some people will think, okay, so again, this looks really obvious. Let me get this cutting target out of the way. This thing keeps falling down, and there we go. Okay, some people will think, okay, so the problem with this is, yeah, of course, it's obvious because if I'm holding it cocked over the right side like this, then that means my attack is going to come from this side, right? Well, again, not quite. Because from this cradle position, it doesn't take much for me to go behind my head and go that way. Okay? All it takes is a lift and go that way. Lift, that way, that way. I can get in two hits in two opposite directions. Right? Now, if the person was to jam me, like this is something that's going to happen a lot. If someone see you with a baseball bat or a golf club, a lot of people watch enough Johnny Tiger YouTube channel, and they say, all I have to do is get close. Okay, if you get close like this, you can't swing. You can't swing, right? Because my arm don't have the room to swing this. But that's okay. If you get this close to me, while I have my baton in the cradle position, I'm just going to smash you with the pommel end of the baton. You're coming close, I smash you, step away, and hit. Right? Smash, step, hit. Smash, step, hit. Right? From this cradle position, I don't even have to go for the head. This is something that I mentioned before. When you are defending yourself with baseball bat or any kind of a baton style heavy club weapon, don't headhunt, okay? For stick, I talk about stick. You go for the arm, for the wrist, or elbow. With baton, try to go for the knee. Try to go for the leg. Try to go for the shin. Right? Because this is big and heavy and long, it doesn't take a lot of force to break the knee joint, to break the shin, or to shatter the pelvis, right? So don't always think about baseball. This is not baseball. Don't think about swinging like baseball bat, right? Think about disabling the leg. And from the cradle position, all it takes is me taking one elbow away, me dropping my elbow, and throw this down while holding onto one hand. See, I'm not even using a two-handed swing. From the cradle, I take away my elbow and take my free hand and basically throw the baton towards the leg while guiding it with the hand that is on the handle, like that. Huh? I can even go leg, hit, right? Like that. No matter what weapon or tool you choose to defend yourself with, it is a good idea to always know what techniques will apply, how to stand, how to hold it, and how best to put it to its most effective use. Thank you for checking out today's Survival Saturday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Soul Search Sunday. For now, have a good weekend.